Good morning, my dear children. Welcome to our class. Today we see the continuation of our lesson, how, when, and where. We divide our lesson into two parts. One is about date and another one is about how do we know the history or how do we know our past events. We can categorize how important are dates into which dates, how do we periodize, and what is colonial. And next, how do we know? Administration produces records, surveys become important, and what official records do not tell. Before getting into today's class, we recall our previous class. Before start with our class today, we recall our previous portion. Last class we have seen how important are dates. Now we recall the points that we have learned in how important are dates. First point, historians were fascinated with the dates on which rulers were crowned or battles were fought. And the second thing, history was associated with dates. History helps us to get clarity about different rulers and incidents of our country. Dates are very important to get clarity about the past events. Even though dates are important, we can't fix a particular date for certain events. In those cases, we refer only a span of time. Associate dates with history are so important to get clarity of the past events. Now historians start to write about other issues in great number like source of life, development of the cities, production, food, markets, kingdom, and changes in cultures and society. Is it clear, my dear children? Now we move on to our today's class. Which dates? By what criteria do we choose a set of dates as important? The dates we select, the dates around which we compose our story of the past, are not important on their own. They become vital because we focus on a particular set of events as important. If our focus of study changes, if we begin to look at new issues, a new set of dates will appear significant. Here, we see the selection of dates on certain criteria. Criteria means set of rules for assessing or categorizing a thing. First, we have to remember that not all dates are important. Dates become important only because of particular events. For example, various events held at Pondicherry in 2019. Consider these dates: May 5th, 2019, May 8th, 2019, and April 29th, 2019. These dates doesn't make any sense until we associate them with the events like Golden Queen of Red Earth Riding World Dance Day. If our focus of study changes, if we begin to look at new issues, a new set of dates will appear significant. It means if we give importance to any particular event, due to that we create importance of that particular date. Is it clear, my dear children? Consider an example. In the histories written by British historians in India, the rule of each Governor General was important. These histories began with the rule of the first Governor General Warren Hastings and ended with the last Viceroy Lord Mountbatten. Whom do we call Governor General? Governor General was the head of all governors of states under East India Company. After the power shifted in the hands of British Crown, Viceroy was appointed, who was the head of colonial India and governed the territory on behalf of British Crown. Once again, we will see whom do we call Governor General and Viceroy. Governor General was the head of all governors of states under East India Company. Governor General was the head of all governors of states under East India Company. After the power shifted in the hands of British Crown, Viceroy's voice was appointed. Viceroy was the head of colonial India and governed the territory on behalf of British Crown. Is it clear, my dear children? Shall I repeat once again? Whom do we call Governor General? Governor General was the head of all governors of states under East India Company. And whom do we call Viceroy? After the power from India shifted in the hands of British Crown, Viceroy was appointed. Who was the head of colonial India and governed the territory on behalf of British Crown. Hope you have understood clearly. Now, we have an example here. If we see the list of histories written by British historians, the historians began their writing from the first ruler Warren Hastings to last Viceroy Mountbatten. In separate chapters, we read about the deeds of others. Hastings, Wellesley, Bentinck, Dalhousie, Canning, Lawrence, Lytton, Ripon, Curzon, Harding, Irving. It was a seemingly never-ending succession of governor generals and viceroys. All the dates in this history books were linked to these personalities, to their activities, policies, achievements. It was as if there was nothing outside the life that was important for us to know. The chronology of their lives marked the different chapters of the history of British India. What is meant by chronology? It means the arrangement of events or dates in the order of their occurrence. Deeds means an action that is performed intentionally or consciously. What do we understand from this paragraph? The dates in history books are linked with the personalities of Governor General and Viceroys. Personalities like their activities, policies, and achievements. It seems that apart from their life, nothing was important for us. The order of their life marked the different chapters of the history of British India. Can we not write about the history of this period in a different way? How do we focus on the activities of different groups and classes in Indian society within the format of this history of Governor General? In the previous slide, we have seen that our history is based only on the personalities of Governor Generals and Viceroys. But now, we can write history in different ways by including different groups and classes of Indian society within the format of this history of Governor Generals. When we write history or a story, we divide it into chapters. Why do we do this? It is to give each chapter some coherence. We divide into different chapters just to say the story in some order or with a sequence. It is to tell a story in a way that makes some sense and can be followed. The process we focus only on those events that help us to give shape to the story. While we are telling story, we concentrate only on those events which create interest of the audience in the story. But in the histories, we have no space for the lives of Indians because it involves only about the lives of British Governor Generals. What then do we do? Clearly we understand that we need another format of history. This would mean that the old dates will no longer have the significance they yearly had. We can say a new set of dates will become more important for us to know. Here we have an example which shows us that our history only based on rulers, not on life of people. Is this clear, my dear children? How do we periodize? Periodize means divide history into different periods. In 1817, James Mill, a Scottish economist and political philosopher, published a massive 3-volume work, A History of British India. In this, he divided Indian history into 3 periods: Hindu, Muslim, and British. This periodization came to be widely accepted. Can you think of any problem with this way of looking at Indian history? What do we understand from this paragraph? In the year 1817, James Mill, he belongs to Scotland. He was a Scottish economist as well as political philosopher. He produced a large 3-volume work on a history of British India. In that, he divided our Indian history into 3 periods, that is Hindu, Muslim, and British. Okay, this differentiation accepted by everyone. Here we have a question. Can you think of any problem with this way of looking at Indian history? Yes, definitely. Because here he has seen our Indian history on the perspective of religion. Okay, we can see our Indian history not only based on religious but also on the lives of people, rulers, and so on. Why do we try and divide history into different periods? We do so in an attempt to capture the characteristic of a time, its central features as they appear to us. Why do we try and divide history into different periods? We do so in an attempt to capture the characteristic of a time, its central features as they appear to us. We divide history into different periods in order to understand the process or happenings during that time or central ideas that happened during that time. So the terms through which we periodize, that is, demarcate the difference between periods, become important. Here the periodization becomes important in order to determine the differences between various periods. Okay, these differentiation reflect our ideas about the past. Here we can understand that this differentiation help us to see the importance of the changes from one period to the next. Is it clear, my dear children? Now, hope you have understood why do we periodize our history. Mill thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level of civilization than Europe. According to his telling of history, before the British came to India, Hindu and Muslim despots ruled the country. Religious intolerance, caste taboos, and superstitious practices dominated social life. British rule, Mill felt, could civilize India. To do this, it was necessary to introduce European manners, arts, institutions, and laws in India. Mill, in fact, suggested that the British should conquer all the territories in India to ensure the enlightenment and happiness of the Indian people. For India was not capable of progress without British rule. Mill thought that Europe had good culture than Asian societies. According to Mill, India was ruled by Muslim and Hindu rulers before the arrival of British. Religious intolerance, caste and superstitious belief controlled the life of Indians. He felt that British rule could civilize India. In order to civilize India, it was necessary to introduce European manners, arts, institutions and laws in India. In fact, Mill suggested British should rule over the various parts of India in order to enrich their life as well as for their happiness. He thought that India was not capable of development without the help of British. In this idea of history, British rule represented all the forces of progress and civilization. Okay, because of his idea, the British rule forced that all the progress and civilization. The period before British rule was one of the darkness. Okay, he says that before the British rule, Indians were in darkness. Can such a conception be accepted today? For this question, children, you have to answer me. Okay, it says that before the British rule, our country was in darkness. In any case, can we refer to any period of history as Hindu or Muslim? Did not a variety of faiths exist simultaneously in this period? Okay, Mill differentiate Indian history only on the basis of religious, okay, that too Hindu and Muslims. Okay, here we have a question. Apart from this, another faith didn't exist simultaneously in this period? Yes. Why should we characterize an age only through the religions of the rulers of the time? Okay, we should not characterize the period only based on the religious. To do so is to suggest that the lives and practices of the others do not really matter. If we categorize the various periods of history only on religious base, it means that lives and practices of the others do not really matter. We should also remember that even rulers in ancient India did not all share the same faith. Moving away from British classification, historians have usually divided Indian history into ancient, medieval, and modern. This division too has its problem. It is a periodization that is borrowed from the West, where the modern period was associated with the growth of all the forces of modernity: science, reason, democracy, liberty, and equality. Medieval was a term used to describe a society where these features of modern society did not exist. Can we uncritically accept this characterization of the modern period to describe the period of our study? As you will see in this book, under British rule, people did not have equality, freedom, or liberty, nor was the period one of the economic growth and progress. Many historians, therefore, refer to this period as colonial. Moving away from British classification, that is, apart from the classification of Mill on Indian history, that is Hindu, Muslim, and British, the historians classify, that is divided Indian history into ancient, that is prehistoric to AD 700, medieval, that is from AD 700 to AD 1857, and modern from AD 1857 till 1991. This division is also has its own problem, because this division is borrowed from the West, okay, where it means modern period is associated with the growth of all the forces of modernity. It includes the development of science, reason, democracy, liberty, and equality. And medieval is nothing but is used to describe a society where the features of modern society did not exist. That is, during a medieval period, the development of the society doesn't consist science, reason, democracy, liberty, and equality. And again, we had a problem in this division. Can we uncritically accept this categorization of the modern period to describe the period of our study? Okay, this differentiation is also very difficult for us to accept, because as you will see in this book, under British rule, people did not have equality, freedom, or liberty, nor was the period one of the economic growth and progress, because during a British rule, even during British rule, the Indian people did not have equality, freedom, as well as liberty, as well as we didn't see any growth in economic, as well as in its progress. So that many historians refer to this period as colonial. What is meant by colonial? It is nothing but the British rule on our country. What is colonial? In this book, you will read about the way the British came to conquer the country and establish their rule, subjugating local Nawabs and Rajas. You will see how they established control over the economy and society, collected revenue to meet all their expenses, bought the goods they wanted at low prices, produced crops they needed for export, and you will understand the changes that came about as a consequence. You will also come to know about the changes British rule brought about in values and tastes, customs and practices. When the subjugation of one country by another leads to these kinds of political, economic, social and cultural changes, we refer to the process as colonization. You will, however, find that all classes and groups did not experience these changes in the same way. That is why the book is called Our Past in the plural. Before seeing the explanation of this paragraph, we see what is meant by colonization. It is the process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. Indigenous is nothing but the people belong to their own country, that is native, a people who belongs to their country. Subjugating means to bring under control. Nawab means a governor in India during Mughal Empire. Revenue means the income of government from all sources. Economy, the system of production and distributions and consumption. Custom means tradition. Here we learn the ways how British came to rule our country and established their rule and controlling over local Nawabs and Rajas. And we also see how they established control over the economy, society, collected incomes to meet all their expenses. They also bought goods for cheap rate, produced crops they needed for export, and we understand the changes that came about as a consequence. We also come to know that the British rule brought the changes like values and tastes, customs and practices. The ruling of one country over another country lead to these kinds of political, economic, social and cultural changes. We refer to this process as colonization. And we also see that all the classes and groups did not face these kinds of changes. That is why the book is called A Past in the plural. Hope you have understood today's lesson. Now it's time for us to recall from the beginning. Okay, first we have learned that selection of dates based on a specific criteria. Selecting dates based on a particular events are important. Historians written history only based on personalities of rulers. So we felt that we need changes in our history so that we can include the lives of people and so on. James Mill divided Indian history into Hindu, Muslim and British because before the entering of British rule, our country was ruled by Hindu and Muslim rulers, whereas historians divided Indian history into ancient, medieval and modern period. Both has its problem in its own because both the divisions were not accepted. James Mill divided our Indian history based on the religious, whereas historians divided Indian history into ancient, medieval, and modern. It belongs to the west part of our country, whereas in the modern period, we didn't see the development of liberty, economy, and so on. Mill, in fact, suggested that the British should conquer all the territories in India to ensure the enlightenment and happiness of the Indian people. But under British rule, people did not have equality, freedom, or liberty. Nor was the period one of economic growth and progress. Hope you have understood the lesson clearly. Now I am going to ask you a question from that. Are you ready, my dear children? Okay, very good. What is meant by colonial? What is meant by colonial? Colonial is nothing but the process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. In short, we can say British rule, isn't it? Okay, the British took control over our country. And next question, who is James Mill? When did he produce the division of Indian history? James Mill, he is a Scottish economist as well as political philosopher. In the year 1870, he produced a division of Indian history as well as he produced a massive 3-volume work, History of British. Okay. Next question, what are the divisions of Indian history according to historians? The division of Indian history according to historians are ancient, medieval, and modern. Okay, very good, my dear children. Thank you, my dear children. See you in the next session.